Okay, so I have two Oral-B toothbrushes here. The one on the left is a little older and has a bit of a problem, or at least it did. This one is an original Oral-B IO 9. At least I think it's original. I'm not sure when they really started producing this exact model line, but I can tell you it has undergone some changes. In any case, what this one was doing was it was flashing hello and then would turn off before getting through the boot sequence and getting into daily clean. I did go ahead and fix that, I guess. So that'll be kind of the video. And then I actually bought another one. This is a IO9, but this one's bought recently. So this one on the right was bought in the last few weeks, and this one is about 2 years old. So they have some differences actually. This newer model has an LCD display, and as you can see, it's a little brighter, and it's a little bit longer of a display too, and the graphics are a little different. So they've gone through, they've made some changes versus the kind of more original one on the left here, and then they added this nice feature too. When it dims here, you'll see that the battery will show on the new model. And there you go. You can see just before the new model shuts off, it shows you the battery. The old model does not do that. So kind of annoying that the old model didn't do that. Glad that they added that in this new model. Both wake when you open them up like this or pick them up. Both say hello, just a little bit different graphics. In any case, I'll break into this one and show you kind of what I did to fix it. And maybe it could help some people down the line. Should warn you there that I could not get this off, so I had to use vice grips. So I tried using the 3 pins on the docking station, and it was not happening. So I had to use vice grips to get the base off, but now that I've gotten this base off, it's actually really easy to take apart. So what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna remove this base, so it rotates lefty-loosey, counterclockwise. So you're gonna turn it this direction using the charging base, or in my case, I use vice grips. Probably not recommended, but mine was really stuck on there. So that'll pop off, and then the spring will also fall out. So you want to make sure you capture that spring. You'll need that again. And then up top, what you'll have to do is you have to pry this ring off. So there's this metal ring that goes right around the top here, and you'll have to pry that off, usually using a screwdriver or something similar. But this one has been off a few times. So you can see here, I'm gonna use something right in here to pry that off. So this is a Leatherman. Then you kind of want to push down on the back side of this ring while you do it. But see, mine's gonna come off really easy because I've had this thing apart like a dozen times. So that ring will slide off. Ring serves as a way to seal the top here. It holds this rubber or silicone ring on there. And then, with that off, so that ring removed, the bottom removed, what you can do is you can just push from the top, and you can see it'll slide right out the bottom. And that reveals a whole circuit board with the OLED display on it. So if we shake it, maybe it's dead. Oh, there we go. So you can see it boots up. This has a 14500 AA battery in it. That is a lithium version, so you can't use a normal AA, but it's roughly the size of a AA. And that takes a Sanyo in this case, but it looks like just an unprotected 14500 battery. And then this is a charging coil. This is kind of the circuit board, and you can see the motor and some sort of interesting portion of the motor that also vibrates. Maybe some type of resonance or something. I don't know, something electrical. But you can see if I start this, they both shake. But it appears only the top is powered. So this oscillates up and down and moves this piece up here. So as that oscillates, it moves this piece up here. And then what I did, I don't think this is recommended, is I coated this board in WD-40. So again, may not be a good longevity option, but for what I had going on, I think it was a water issue, and spraying this board with WD-40 displaced the moisture, and it no longer got stuck at the hello screen after a few days. So It's been pretty good since, but it's only been a few days, so I won't go so far as to say it's fixed. And I don't know if I'd even recommend spraying it with WD-40. Probably something better like a contact cleaner. I can tell you I actually used the silicone specialist, but again, I think that there is something better. So this is not a recommendation video, but this is what I ended up using. Again, I basically bought a new toothbrush assuming that this brush was dead, and then I took it apart just to see if I could fix it. Through that process, I let it air dry for a while. So I think your first step would be just to let it air dry. Don't spray anything on it. Take it apart like this, maybe take the battery out and just let it set for a few days and see if you can get it to air dry. If that didn't work, then maybe spraying something on it would be beneficial. Again, I'm not trying to make a recommendation just because I don't know the long-term consequences, but short-term, it worked for me. Sprayed it with WD-40, hasn't had really much of a problem. It did take a few days. I think that the oil had to penetrate into the board or into the chips. I'm not certain, but it seems to have displaced whatever water was causing the issues before, and now it works. Even the shaking works, everything works as expected. So that's one way to fix it. And then to reassemble this, what I did was I will actually get some food safe silicone lubricant. I'll go grab some and show you what I'm talking about. So this is what I've been applying to the seal. Again, I'm not certain this is working, but there doesn't appear to be any moisture in here. But this is just a 90% pure silicone grease. This is what you'd use for O-rings and stuff in plumbing. So I figured, hey, I want something on there to hopefully help maintain that seal. I'll just take a little bit of this seal, the silicone sealant or lubricant, O-ring lubricant, and I'm gonna put it in there. Again, less of a recommendation video and more of my thought process video. And then I did the same thing for this bottom seal here. Just went ahead and lubricated this O-ring for the base unit too. Again, my goal would be to stop water ingress again. And then looping back, the other thing I did was I put tape over this hole because you can see on the inside maybe here, this has a little bit of like a equalization hole or something similar. So it's designed to equalize with ambient air pressure. It's got like a membrane in there, and I put a toothpick in there and poked that. So that membrane is designed to keep the water out, but allow air to move between the toothbrush, I guess maybe to allow for atmosphere or like elevation changes, and maybe humidity. If it becomes water vapor, maybe it lets the water out. Obviously that wasn't perfect for me because this one's still got moisture in it. Again, I think probably through this top seal, but I'm not certain. So with that, I added a lot of silicone. I put this over the bottom, hoping that this toothbrush will kind of endure a little bit longer. And also the board is coated in oil, for better or worse. But that should hopefully help repel water also if more water gets in. I am a little disappointed that this didn't come with a coated board from the factory. You know, some of the electronics that are designed for immersion or water, they come with a coated circuit board with like an epoxy or something similar. There's some type of official coating. And what that would do is prevent water from damaging the board. I don't think this has that. So that's probably why, you know, it gets so sensitive to water intrusion, and why it can freak out. So wish it had that, and hoping that the oil won't damage things first and foremost. It may. And then the second part being hopefully that the oil, if it doesn't do that, will at least prevent further water intrusion. So again, might be a better solution. I'd look into something else if you're actually gonna do this to your own and wanted it to last. This is kind of more of a last ditch effort for me, and I'm surprised it's kind of working, but there might be a better solution, a better contact cleaner or something similar. So that's what worked for me though. I'm gonna reassemble this, and maybe we'll do a quick portion for that. So to reassemble, you just do what you did to disassemble. You're gonna insert the toothbrush with the battery up into the casing here, and that should slide all the way through. And then you'll see the screen line up if everything looks right. This should sit right below that notch there. So if you have it all the way inserted, it'll seal right below this notch here. Then what you can do is you can put this spring back in that the charging coil slot there, and then insert this. So this only goes in one direction. So you're gonna wanna have that lithium ion logo facing up, and then turned about a quarter or a third turn counterclockwise. And then you should be able to push this in. And again, lock it by turning it to the right. You should feel it go. And when you get it fully seated, which I can't seem to do right now. There we go. So when you get it fully seated, that should look like that on the bottom. So it almost making like a Y with those dents. And then this is the top that I'm referencing. And again, the lithium ion should be vertical when the toothbrush is laying, should be legible, I should say, when the toothbrush is laying on its back like this. And then for the top, again, my toothbrush, I've done this a few times, so it may not seal very well, but it makes it easier to put together. But you're gonna slide that metal ring down, and then I like to push the back in first. The back will seat just under that notch there. So you push the back in first, it'll seat under that notch. And then holding the back down, you can kind of push down on the front here. Easier said than done. There you go. And you'll feel it click. I'll show you with the new one. So if you know I didn't mess with it, this one hasn't been apart. But the back side seats under that notch, is a small notch right there. And then the front sits right below that notch there. There shouldn't be two notches visible. Let me use this as a pointer right there. So you can see it sits flush with this upper notch. There's a notch below that. Should sit right in the groove between those two notches, and then when you get it together, only one notch should be visible. This isn't a port, this is an injection hole for the molding process. But this one is a hole. If it's not sealed, it can let water in. And then the front side for reference should look like that. All right, so that's how I kind of fixed this toothbrush. We'll see how long this lasts. Again, I'm not certain that this is a permanent fix, but it's been going for a couple days solid. Been using it only. I haven't actually used the new toothbrush more than just trying it out. So this is, I guess, a redemption, seeing how long it can last. But again, I'm not holding out too much hope that it'll live a long life. I think it's close to the end. I don't know that these are fully coated boards, you know, as I said earlier, and I don't think that they're designed to last much beyond the 2-year warranty. We'll see how much longer this one has in it, but the battery seems fine. They do some weird things too, where they shut off at 50%, but after doing that a few times, it seems to have been okay recently. But again, I haven't had enough cycles on it to tell you for sure if that problem is addressed. So there you go. Hopefully that helps you somebody out, at least for a temporary fix.